It's gone from 8 down to only 5 here at the very end on the final lap as Will Lyon and Ryan Carwile are going to swap the lead. It's going to be Sanchez on the outside. Can Tyler maybe sneak it past both of them? Will the lap traffic play a part? Big lift from Lyon. That's going to send him backwards. Sanchez tries to find some clean air. They've lost ground to Carwile. Is it going to be close enough that they can catch him down to the finish? What about that lap traffic in front? That's Arribas trying to stay out of the way. He's actually helping Carwile. Carwile's got the draft, and he is going to take the win here at Indianapolis.
Looks like he might try to go around the outside here. Oh, it's going to be tight.
Lepisto wants another win, and
no!
They come together. They're absolutely coming together, and one is in the barrier. The other just manages to stay off. Lepisto doesn't hit anything other than Ferencrow, but there goes a potential win.
Yeah, massive chaos there for those drivers. Here is the replay of that. Yeah, the little tip there from Van Rassel. Ooh, talk about some narrow margins from Stephen Orrell.
I was going to say, there's still a chance that we could see a change of position here. Togo's a little too hot, but Ove Trangrade gets very close. Surely he's going to try and send a go. No, he's covered off as Miko defends the inside down into the Casio triangle. Now he has to be smooth on the throttle to seal the deal, and he is as he comes to the line. Our 7th different winner of the season to tie the record. Miko Makela gets his first ever win here in Japan. Yeah, he's going to have to really dive in to try and take it here. Decides not to. Maybe into the Melbourne hairpin. Ooh, it's a fantastic run. And defending the 183, tries to cover him off. Now he's back to the racing line, sends it in deep. And can he get it done? We won't get to know because we have to go to Tom Layton, who is going to take the win. And with this, the championship for the 2022 Porsche Owners Club Sim Racing Series. Look at that, celebrating because he knows he has gotten it. It's going to be a race to the line. Look at this, a drag race down to it at the end. Will it be Mayorga or Bolton? It's going to be Bolton.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to ride around the world.
I'm Mick Claridge, and I'm going to ride around the world on my bike.
My son, he gave me advice at the start of this ride, and he looked at me and just said, "Dad, don't be a moron."
Let me do my animal signal to gain their respect.
How's it going, Sally? Yeah, I'm alright, Mick. How's it going?
Worse than that bit in Lord of the Rings where they got into the top and the spiders in the tunnel. I'm just hoping there's a spider at the top of this one to kill me.
Freezing.
And I failed. I moroned up the ride.
Last week's circuit presented a variety of chicanes to deal with over the lap. This time, the theme is hairpins. With at least 7 of the 11 turns being more than 90 degrees, you're going to get your fill of tight, slow corners. Will our drivers be sick of them by the end of today? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 10 of the Camel GT series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Okayama is a circuit plenty familiar to most iRacers. Let's head to our track guide, though, in case you haven't heard of it before. Welcome to Okayama International Circuit. Located an hour's drive northeast of its titular city, it sits nestled among the green, lush hills in southern Japan. Built in 1990, it's most well known for the 2 visits Formula One made in '94 and '95. But since then, national and international touring car series have come to race here as well. Otherwise, the two available layouts are mostly used for club racing and amateur track days. The full course is just under 4 kilometers with 11 turns, and the short version is a measly 2 kilometers with 7 turns. It does this by cutting out the portion between Williams and Revolver. While hairpins abound throughout the lap, overtakes tend to be surprisingly hard. The first corner, Atwood Curve, and Hairpin are the main spots where drivers can attempt a traditional pass. Hairpin makes for unique battles though. The unusually steep banking for a road course, plus the switch back into Revolver, means that holding it around the outside can reward a brave driver. However, while it is a more modern facility, runoff in some places is shockingly small, and it can be easy to damage your car. This section in particular around Revolver, Piper, and Redmond gets slightly claustrophobic. The pit entry requires some practice since you must use the inside lane of Mike Knight, otherwise you'll get a penalty. While it might not see as much use in the real world, here on iRacing, this track is part of the base content, and so new road racers will find themselves here frequently. With it being suitable for a wide range of styles of cars, it's sure to excite many of the competitors who tackle it. Well, Adam, the more high-powered cars we race here, the more I'm amazed that F1 actually came here twice.
Yeah, it seems really improbable, Joe, but I mean, Okayama International Circuit has always produced cramped and intense battles in the Camel series, and today will likely be no exception. This 2.31 mile or 3.72 kilometer 11-turn circuit has started many an iRacer's paved road racing career, and the Audis will by far feel the most at home here. Take an MX-5 and make it bigger, take all the aerodynamics away and add back about 50% of the weight, add a turbocharger or four-wheel drive, and you have a completely different car, but also the Audi 90 GTO. This car loves this track, with the exception of the last corner, which can make the Audi understeer, way more exaggerated. The Nissans, on the other hand, are a bit stunted by the tiny nature of this track, and not really allowed to stretch their legs. The GTP wing machine will struggle with the medium to slow speed nature of most of the turns here, where even the high speed corners are transitioning either to or from aerodynamic grip, making mastering this circuit a real challenge. Multiclass here is uniquely challenging as the racing line switches back and forth after almost every corner, and the track is only 3 cars wide at its widest point across the start-finish straight. Danger zones are Revolver through Piper, Redmond through Hobbs, and the last corner. This is always a frustrating race for the drivers, Joe, but after seeing the iRacing Happy Hour you helped host earlier this week, I have some hope for the great battles today.
Yeah, it put on a fantastic show for that one. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely go give that a watch. It was a great fight for the GTO lead, but Leskala right now is out there without Kiradine Buwafia ready to take part. So he puts himself naturally up to the pole by about a second over Ian Haycock. Sintez Galindo, though, is about a tenth of a second ahead of Laust Olsen, of all people, but we'll see if that changes around. As for today's race itself, we are going back to the 40-minute setup instead of the hour-long one that we had before. Open setup for these cars. And, of course, they have no spare car waiting for them as well if they run into damage. There's a lot of places where the barriers are not far off the circuit, so that's a serious concern. Drive-through penalty will be at 17 incidents and a disqualification at 25. So keep it within the track boundaries. And there you see Sintez Galindo finishing that second lap, but he doesn't improve, and Trangrade came within less than a tenth on his first time around.
Absolutely, Trangrade doing a good job right now. Laust Olsen with a decent qualifying as well. Less than 3/10 off of the lead, with actually going to the pole position, provisional pole for Laust Olsen on his second lap. Can Trangrade best that?
He's got to make up almost 3/10 now to overtake Laust Olsen. It's been a while since we've seen Laust have some good fortune here in the Camel Series, so maybe he can make up for it today as Ove continues on his way around town into Redmond and Hobbs. Also, Leskala actually is coming across the line for his second lap, and it's a 26.7. He's still 1.1 seconds ahead of Ian Haycock, who's finished up his qualifying. But how about this? Doug Cloud is in third, and he's less than a tenth off of Ian Haycox there. So we've talked recently about Doug Cloud having a lot of improvement, and he continues to show it. His train grade crosses the line, he improves, but is still not on pole. He'll be on the front row.
Javier Olmo about to cross the line in the GTOs. He's got a little bit to go to try and make it up into up further in the top 5, crosses the line. Is his time going to improve? Yes, good enough for second position, but still a second, 1 second off of Yuka Leskala's provisional pole time.
Wow, it's looking like it's going to be domination today for Yuko once again. I'm watching Jeff Hooper just come across. Does he have enough time? Yes, he's got enough time to come around for his final lap. Antti Lepisto, who is going to try and redeem himself from his race earlier on happy hour. Unfortunately, got a little bit of damage late on and fell backwards down the field. Oh, unfortunately, he's not going to improve on this lap at all with a corner like that. So he'll stay in 4th at best. Not bad, but I'm sure he felt like he could have improved.
Yeah, absolutely. He definitely wanted to improve. 4th position is not going to be his ideal starting position. He'd want to have start on the front row, especially with turn 1 and turn 2 being so challenging around here, especially at the start of the race with cold tires. These older cars really affected by cold tires around here. But crossing the line, I believe that's Timothy Vaughn who crosses the line now. Under braking, no, sorry, my correction, that was Alex Williams setting a time good enough to currently be in 17th for the Audis right now.
Sensos is going to cross with his first timed lap, and a 31.5 is going to put him last of those who've set times, unfortunately. Sands not able to go quicker on his second lap around, and then Jeff Hooper might be the last one here. He's coming around out of last corner, the 38 car. Going to see if he can get any farther up our sheets. And a 31.2 will definitely do it, but only into 18th in class.
I believe that's going to do it for everyone to set a qualifying time. Roy Pruitt crosses the line right at the last possible moment. 24 seconds left on the timing sheets. Is that going to be an improvement from Roy? Yes, it makes him faster than the GTOs by 1/10.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I just noticed him jump up, but he's still back of the GTPs, so he must have really botched that first lap. And that is indeed it for our qualifying results. So let's go through the starting order here today. And Lau Stolzen, as we mentioned, is on the pole position. Trangrade will be next to him. Heitor Sintes Galindo will start from 3rd, followed by Antti Lepisto, who might have a bone to pick since he was not able to go quicker on that 2nd lap. Farron Grau will start 5th, as Aaron Humphrey will be P6. Then you've got Seamus Power in the 7th position, followed by Javier Mascara, P8. Xavier Sanchez, he'll be on the inside of the 5th row. Brennan Lim to his outside. Then on the next slide, Stefan Leslie will be starting 11th. Romain Bello, P12. Cash Hansen starts from 13th. Cam Porter hopping over from the Lotus 49s will start P14 today. Augustine Alberti will be 15th, and Roy Pruitt was the last to set a time in 16th. Carlos Fonseca, Jason Clapper, Kurt Clapper, Jose Garcia, Jose Higueras, and William Miller will start from the back of the prototypes.
And then also qualifying with the prototypes, but in a different car, is Yuka Leskala, only 1/10 slower than the leading prototype with the 126.746, sorry, than the last prototype. Javier Olmo is going to line up in 2nd position. Alongside him, row 2 is going to be Ian Haycox, starting off in 3rd for, wow, he's done that quite a bit this season. Reed Miller starting off 1 position higher than his normal in the 4th position, with Doug Cloud starting off in 5th. Timothy Vaughn in 6th position on row 3, with row 4 going to Gregorio Buscemi and Hideki Koivisto on row 4 outside as well. Mark Olay is going to start off in 9th position, with Andreas Schuster starting off in the 10th spot. And then it's going to be Marty Ollie in the 11th position, with Jamie Hamill-Smith in 12th. Nathan Cameron's going to start off in 13th, with Daniel Repetto 14th. Javier Sanz in 15th, with Christian Schaefer in 16th position. Alex Williams starting off in the 17th spot, with Jeff Hooper in 18th. We got Diego Ascensos in 19th position, the last driver to set a time. And that's going to be Arit Agaronian, who's going to be our last driver in the Audis, and that is 20 Audis out of a 40 car field, a 42 car field rather. It's a fairly even split today.
Indeed, yeah, 22 Nissans out there, so the drivers now head off on the very partial pace lap, and then Laust Olsen will have control of the fields. Let's see if he can bring this home to a victory. Will we see Trangrade deny him that? Will Sintez Galindo or Lepisto start to blast through? Do they have latent speed that we haven't seen here this week? So there goes the pace car. It is now up to Olsen to decide when he wants to accelerate away, looking for that green flag as he holds up the field out of the final corner. Olsen in the yellow and blue is on it now, and man, it's a monster jump over the rest of the field. Looks like Sintez Galindo might be able to overtake Trangrade as well, and then Farron Grau is looking to try and get past Lepisto in the first corner. It's a pretty tidy first turn. Let's go to the GTOs.
A full four-wheel-one style grid in both classes. Yuka Leskola got a pretty decent jump over Javier Omo, who's being challenged by Reed Miller, trying to go around the outside of turn one. Takes a little bit too deep, though. Ian Haycock's trying to challenge up the inside. Now switching back to the outside for that third position. Reed Miller can't get the tires fired up. He's very loose and very wide. That's going to put Ian Haycock almost alongside him, but a clean start for the Audis.
These two had a nice battle earlier in the week at happy hour, and Ian's ready to pick it right back up as he goes deep down the inside, and he's given just enough room at the apex by Reed Miller. I thought that was going to be an accident, but it carries on as they fly up the backstretch to decide who is going to get third place.
And it looks like that's going to be Reed Miller, who just has a little bit of overspeed being on the outside. A better line, better traction on the outside. He brakes very, very late, but side by side behind him, John Cloud makes a little bit of contact with the backer, Ian Haycock. He's able to hang on. Timothy Vaughn, though, off track, though, on the hairpin. He didn't hit anything, but just took it too deep into the braking zone.
Oh, man, this is disaster for him. He came into this about 6th starting on the grid, and now he's fallen all the way down to 17th. Just from that one little mistake at the start. He's going to have a lot of hard work to do from there. It's been relatively simple on the first lap. They all went single file with the prototypes.
That was a big moment there from Jose Higueras, who's having a little bit of connection issues. He actually forced Yuka Leskola to make an evasive action. He's in the midst of these GTOs, and they don't know where he is.
Oh, this is worst case scenario for our leaders, as it looks like Roman Bello also had some sort of issue. We'll have to go back later and try and figure that one out. Up into the first corner as Javier Del Olmo taking advantage to try and get the lead. And still that GTP car is trying to get back through with an absolutely atrocious internet signal. Let's hope that this goes away pretty quickly.
We got a nice battle for 9th position in the GTPs between Brendan Lim and Javier Mascara. Mascara trying to climb back through the field. Unable to do so, though, in 9th position. Brendan Lim able to hang on to that right now, but it's pretty backed up behind him, behind Stefan Leslie, Cam Porter, and then we got Augustine Alberti, Jason Clapper, Hakaj Hansen, and Carlos Fonseca all battling for the 13th position.
A little bit of a holdup this time for Del Olmo, coming out of the hairpin, in fact, way off the line there, and the GTP is off once again into the wall, but he's out of the way of the leaders. So as they come down towards Redmond and Hobbs, it looks like Del Olmo will retain a bit of a gap over Leskola. We'll see how long that lasts, though.
Absolutely. So Del Olmo is free and clear for the moment. Yuka Leskola, though, he had a second over Del Olmo in qualifying, so that's why Yuka Leskola just backed off. Didn't want to get into an incident that would take him out of the race because he's confident he has the pace to catch Del Olmo.
Back onto the front stretch once again. Just an update on our GTPs since we haven't checked in a while. And here we see Mascara in a big fight. This is trying to keep Stefan Leslie behind him. Stefan takes a little poke. He's going to have to really dive it into the hairpin, and he does not in the end. But Olsen leads by about 1.5 seconds currently. Oh, but he's poor off the corner. Look at that cut back from Stefan Leslie. Just about gets it.
Yeah, almost gets it there. That's such a good place to make a pass right there through Redmond. It's exactly, this pass is one that we've all made in the slower classes before, but it's a lot harder in the GTPs, who are much more comfortable upwards of 60 miles per hour. And when you're coming around these corners, exiting the hairpins at 40, the car just does not want to pick up traction at all.
With Cam Porter, one of our onboard cams here today. That's Stefan Leslie just in front of him after that failed pass attempt. They go down the front stretch, and it's a very good run here for Cam. He's got a lot of top speed. Wonder if he's trimmed that thing out, but it's not enough, and he'll stay behind in 11th.
The Rockingham making yet another return here, and it looks like we've had a problem with Daniel Repetto. He's off track in the GTOs going backwards, but Cam Porter doing a good job of hanging on to the back of Leslie and Mascara as they're having some trouble themselves.
Cam was another one that took part. Oh, and you mentioned here the 16 is off to the inside. That's a very strange place to wind up.
Yeah, he took it too deep through Redmond actually and got into the dirt, and so then hit the wall and just kind of drifted back across the track, it looks like.
Looks like that was actually in Piper there, so that must have been out of Revolver that he went a little too far. Oh, and did Miller get passed by Haycox? It looks like he did.
Yeah, good pass from Haycox through turn one. Reed Miller has been, his car looks extremely tight, or he's over braking himself. But look at this, Doug Cloud thinks about taking this advantage too, because he knows Reed's gonna go wide, so he sticks his nose in, but that very tightened exit off of that corner before the straight, such a challenge to get going there. Riding on board now with Ian Haycox, who's looking back at Reed Miller. Ian just trying to hang on to that third position. Got Doug Cloud in behind him. Ian locking up the right front, a little bit under braking there.
As we look through those rear wings, you can see that train of cars just following him around. But we've seen Ian Haycox stand up to bigger challenges than this before. So I imagine this is going to be tough for Reed Miller to try and get that overtake, which everybody behind Reed is probably egging him on so that they can get a chance to have a go at things. And there you can see that one-footed racing with Ian Haycox missing his other one, but having not lost a tenth of a second of his pace since his amputation. Down the front stretch, also in this group, Koivisto, and then it looks like you've got Buscemi in there.
Sorry, we got a pass for the lead in the GTOs. Yuko Leskala making the pass on Javier Del Olmo. We knew that this was a pass that likely was gonna happen, but Javier trying to hold out on the inside of the corner. Very strong defense, but it's gonna swap to the outside here for the braking into this next corner. It is a highly banked corner, so it's possible he can hang on to that position. Yuko Leskala on the pinched inside, but Javier takes it a little too deep. Can't quite get the power off, and that's gonna give Leskala the lead. But Javier Del Olmo coming back at him on the straightaway.
Oh, he's got a good slipstream here, and Leskala diving down to the inside is going to brake as deep as he can to hold him off, but a nose ahead. Now into Revolver. Will he see the spot back? Will he get into the lead? Oh, he's going to hold on. A little bit of wheel spin there from Leskala slows him up. Two left-handers, three left-handers in a row, really, here for Del Olmo. This is going to put it in favor of him, but watch Ian Haycox. He's caught up because of all this side-by-side racing. Still not job done, though, for Del Olmo. A defense on the outside of three corners for Leskala, but then he goes too deep, and there goes through the inside as Del Olmo is carrying this on for yet more turns.
The battle for P1, it consists of 8 cars now. It's all the way back to Gregorio Buscemi in 8th position. And look at this. It's gonna be Yuko Leskala off the corner next to Javier Del Olmo. They're gonna go side by side. Ian Haycox looking to the inside. Is he gonna try and make a challenge for the lead into turn 1? No, under braking. They're still side by side. One lap complete side by side. Can they do 2?
This is absolutely amazing. Oh, Haycox gets a little nudge from Miller behind. It's getting tense now as they're leaving each other less and less space. They finally go single file, but Leskala has the top spot.
Leskala has the top spot. It's going to be one more shot for Javier Del Olmo to try and make this pass on Leskala. He's got to get side by side with him, otherwise he's going to lose Leskala to the lead. Completely insane from these guys. It's going to be crazy. So here we go down the front straight, down this back straightaway rather. Javier Del Olmo looking for the pass. He can't get alongside though. This train though continues, and our leaders of the GTPs are about to catch up to them. Third though, Ove Traingrade's around.
Oh, he was sitting in such a good position for this race. Started on the front row and now falls down to 7th. That looks like that was out of Atwood. Not sure if he just goosed it too hard or what.
Yeah, he just got on the power a little bit too hard, lost traction on the inside right tire. So unfortunately, that's put him back further in the field. Side by side with Javier Sanchez, who's trying to get past. Javier decides to back off though, as they're going by Christian Schaefer in the GTO class.
Yep, down into the braking. Whoa, late move to the inside there from Sanchez, who I'm a bit surprised to see down in 8th currently, usually running a little bit higher up than that. And he stays with it, but now as they weave through the back of the GTO field, this has been an absolute nightmare. There was one off in front of them, Javier Zanz, unfortunately having to take to the dirt, but everybody manages to keep carrying on.
All right, deep breaths, everybody, but Laust Olsen's about to catch up to that 8-car battle for the lead of the GTOs. He's about to go past the battle for 9th between Marco Lay, Marty Ollie, and Jamie Hamill-Smith. And Laust Olsen in the lead of this race in the GTPs, but he's going to have an extremely wild gaggle of GTOs ahead of him that he's got to get by, and it's got to be through one of the slower portions of the track.
Well, this is a perfect moment for the pucker cam. Let's see if it starts to come out. Yeah, under braking as he sends it in deep. There it is on command. And Laust Olsen now approaches the back of the huge train. Buscemi is up first.
This is where my heart rate would be absolutely through the roof. Laust Olsen does not want to lose any time, any of the 2.6 seconds he has gained on Aitor Sentes Galindo in the clear air. But traffic is really, it's a fickle mistress. It's really hard to navigate this traffic effectively. Laust has got to be very patient here, make sure he's very clear on his communication with the Audis up ahead of where he's going to go, because if he's not, he can absolutely instigate some contact. Looking down to the inside there of Andreas Schuster, able to get by cleanly. Now Hideki Koivisto's next, and he's going to be able to get by quite a few of them here, probably up to right behind Reed Miller in 4th position before the first turn.
Yeah, good call. There it is right there, slotting in between Reed and Doug Cloud. But Sentes Galindo is having just as much trouble. In fact, that has backed up the battle for second significantly. Farron Grau, Antti Lepisto are all over the back of him, as this is just about it, almost to the front of the group there. Laust Olsen, our leader, just has one more to go. That green car up ahead is Yuko Leskala.
Absolutely. The battle for second position between Aitor Sentes Galindo, Farron Grau, and Antti Lepisto has actually gotten closer because of the traffic. Lepisto and Grau are right on top of each other, with Lepisto trying to follow him through.
I still watch Laust Olsen here, but it is nose to tail for P2. You can kind of see flashes of them in the background in the GTP class. There it is, just behind Reed Miller for now. And seeing a few cars off track somewhere on my timing and scoring. I think Aaron Humphrey may be one of it. Oh, and looks like, was that Kurt Clapper?
Yeah, Aaron Humphrey definitely went around. I believe Kurt Clapper was involved in that as well, but fortunately it looks like everyone's going again. Reed Miller getting pushed aside a little bit there by Antti Lepisto. But look at this, coming down the front straightaway. Can Farron Grau get a good exit here? Oh, looks like he's going to lose a little bit of time. So Aitor Sentes Galindo can't possibly try and make the pass. Antti Lepisto right on the back of them. I think it's too dangerous to try and make a pass in all this traffic right now, but look at that. That's Javier Del Olmo, who gets pushed offline a little bit. He's going to lose more time to Yuko Leskala right now.
This is the last thing that he wanted in this situation. Oh, Lepisto almost getting into the gearbox of Farron Grau in the process. Just about past the leader. All going to take to the left-hand side. And now, well, they can almost carry on. They've got a lapped car in the GTOs just in front of them. That's Repetto, but he's going to stay off to the side. Nicely done.
I don't think that Farron Grau has the overspeed on Galindo to make an inside move. He can try and set it late on the brakes, but it's going to be a hard pass to make. And Aitor Sentes Galindo covers that off by braking late himself. Antti Lepisto going to the outside of the corner. These three nose to tail right now as they go through this very tight infield section.
Oh, Buscemi, who is with that front group, has suddenly found himself off the track. Oh, he's in a very vulnerable spot. Oh, thankfully, everybody sees him coming, and he's now off the road. I don't know if he had help here.
This was, he actually took the exit of one a little bit too wide, ended up making contact with Hideki Koivisto. Oh, Ian Haycox is having trouble. No, he's side by side with Reed Miller.
Miller trying to get that spot back, but no dice, just as they have to deal with the headache that is prototype traffic. That's Xavier Sanchez, Ove Trangrade, just going past them. And they are going to leave them be for now. They've also got Brendan Lim just back there, along with Agustin Alberti. But Agustin's not in a battle for position as Doug Cloud, three wide and into the side of Reed Miller. He catches the car. Fantastic job from keeping that thing to go around. Pedal down and four-wheel drift.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't blame Doug for going for the move, but unfortunately the Audi understeer pushed him out into Reed Miller. Reed able to save that thing. Not too much damage, it looks like, to Reed, but he's going to try and cover off Leslie, who goes to the inside there on the GTPs. More contact up ahead. That is Stefan Leslie. Sorry, that was Cam Porter, I believe, who's going backwards right now.
I'll have to go back and check on that as they come through now for that second place fight with Galindo, Grau, and Lepisto. These three were very closely battling on Thursday's race too. But they get round two here today, twice in a week at the same track to try and sort this out. For now, though, it does look to me like the 7 has the legs.
Yeah, we've got the benefit of live timing and scoring, and it's still hard to keep track of who's where on this track with it being as tight as it is. But look at this, some nice speed from Antti Lepisto. Can he make a move on Grau before the end of the straight? No, it just does not have the speed. Everyone's got a lot of wing in their cars today, and that means that there's not a lot of draft capability going on. But a battle for 11th position in the GTPs is happening right now between Mascara, Porter, Fonseca, and Humphrey, as they've all tucked up behind the GTO battle for second, and they're trying to go by him now to turn 1.
One's going to be able to get through on Del Olmo, maybe a second, and yes, indeed, looks like Cam Porter sneaks through. Del Olmo holds off to the left-hand side of the track, compromising his line, allowing the rest of that train past, and he can carry on trying to fend off on Ian Haycox. Down into the braking underneath Repetto. Cam Porter is not willing to let up and lose touch with Mosquera. In fact, Mosquera looks like he had a bad exit coming out of Atwood. This is a fantastic run from Cam. Can he try and get through? Going down deep into the hairpin. He is in front of him and just about slide jobs ahead of that pink car.
That was such a great pass from Cam Porter, absolutely parking it on the apex, making sure that he drifted just a little bit out into Mascara's lane, keeping Mascara blocking his progression. That was a lot of trust in Mascara, but Cam and Mascara have battled many times over the course of the seasons, and they trust each other a lot, so a little bit of a gutsy move there, but respect from the two drivers.
And we saw on the Lotus 49 Grand Prix Legend Series that Cam Porter was fired up from his battle that he had there as well. He seems to be learning things, and his wheel-to-wheel racecraft continues to improve. He's actually pulling away now up in this 11th spot. So Cam Porter has already set his sights forward to Leslie. We'll see if he can catch him as we watch Humphrey now behind Mosquera. Was he the plug in the spigot here? Was he holding up this train behind?
Yeah, wow, it's just such intense racing right now from a lot of the classes right now, but quite a few of them are into clear air with their own classes right now. We've got first through sixth in the GTOs that are clear of any traffic at the moment, and then we have first through 14th that are clear in the GTPs in their own classes right now. As I believe Daniel Repetto has slid off again, unfortunately, right in front of the battle for 4th position in the GTOs.
Yep, he's going to return to the track up on the backstretch here, but he's already been sent a lap down, so I think he's just trying to survive this to the end of the race, of which we're just about halfway to the end of already.
Sorry, Joe, side by side between Reed Miller and Doug Cloud as they're duking it out for 4th position in the GTOs, diving down here through this tight, twisting infield section. So much elevation gain around here that really you don't notice it while you're watching it, but when you go drive this thing, the car really bounces up and down off of these curves and off of these elevation changes. But Doug Cloud able to take away 4th position from Reed Miller. Reed trying to stab his way back into that. Andres Schuster looking on.
I don't think we need to say anymore that Doug Cloud is an improved driver for about a full season now. He has been firmly at the top of this mid-pack, and now he's even close to potentially a podium. He's got to chase down Haycox by about 3 seconds. Oh, but will he be able to? Because Reed Miller is forcing him to go defensive, coming down into the first corner, and he's going to try and get around him on the outside. If he keeps it, he'll have the inside into Williams, and yes, he will.
Absolutely, that was Kaj Hansen. They just went by, who was sideways on the track as they battle still. Look at this, though. Doug Cloud took it deep through turn 2. That's a rare moment that we've seen there. And that's Kurt Clapper that's trying to go by. And Andreas Schuster takes advantage of Reed Miller having to check up due to Kurt Clapper. And now he's trying to take away that 5th position from Reed Miller.
Oh, man, it's been a bad lap for Reed Miller. He's lost 2 positions in a single go round as Schuster wanted to defend the inside, but it was opened up by Jose Garcia trying to sneak through. That leaves a gap for Miller. Miller's going to try and follow through, use the GTP as a pick, but it's not done. And Oh, that's usually single file down through Revolver. They somehow manage it and carry on side by side through Piper. It's a repeat of what we've seen many a time at this track where the battles just do not die here.
Absolutely fantastic battling going on, but Reed Miller's going to have 3 inside rights. He makes a little bit of contact with Doug, outbreaks himself, unfortunately. Hideki Koivisto now catching up to the back of him. Reed Miller hemorrhaging positions right now as he continues to battle with each contender that goes by.
Hideki Koivisto is up next. I've been trying to figure out if he's paying homage with this paint because it's a very cool, old school looking paint, but it does have a bit of big green egg vibes to it every time I see it as they come back down into turn 1. Well, this is actually unleashed Doug Cloud, but he's not catching Haycox now that he no longer has to worry about those behind him. Miller's got to be getting a little bit frustrated at how this is just absolutely unfolded on him.
Absolutely, but I'm not sure that Reed Miller has the setup that he prefers today. We talked about him earlier on the race being a little bit understeered, being a little tight through the corners. I think that that's still haunting him right now. He's moved the brake bias quite a ways back. You can see it under braking, especially for the hairpin. The rear end will slide around a little bit because he's got the brake bias so far back, but it's not helping him through the center of the corner, which is where he's losing all his time right now.
So he continues to try to get this back from Andreas Schuster. The hairpin doesn't do it for him. He follows down through Piper now. And, Jason Clapper and Brendan Lim are now side by side. This is for 8th position. Clapper's gained 10 spots. He manages to get through. Oh, big moment there for Brendan Lim. Keeps it on the track, and Jeff Hooper has a heart attack as he went by the way he didn't expect.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Jeff Hooper was trying to stay out of the way of those guys, but unfortunately, when the closing rate, when the delta between the classes is over 10 seconds, you really do have to stick to your racing line. Otherwise, the GTP is going to have no idea where you're going. Look for the GTP to try and communicate where they're going to go, and if they don't make a clear communication, stick to the racing line, and they'll have to figure out a way around you. Or you can, get mad at them in the Discord later.
Be predictable. That's always the advice I see in any multi-class situation, and let them make the decision from behind. Meanwhile, the battle for P2 is now 7.2 seconds behind Laust Olsen. A little bit earlier, it was a different driver that was running away from them. It was Hovdal earlier this week, who looked like he was able to outpace everybody. Also got a battle here between Seamus Power, Ove Trengray, and Xavier Sanchez. This is for 5th.
Yeah, a good battle there between Xavier, Ove Trengray, and Seamus Power. Seamus Power trying to cling on to that 5th position right now as they go through up towards the long back straightaway. A little bit of a wiggle there from Power. Trengray might have enough overspeed to do it late on the brakes unless Power defends.
They're 3 in a line, peas in a pod here. Are we going to see an attack into the corner? No, they're all going to stay as they were. Power still ahead of Trengray. Remember, Ove was on the front row at the start of this race. Probably not content back there in 6th.
Yeah, absolutely. So Trengray, he's improved a lot over the course of this season when it comes to driving the Nissan. Remember, he used to be a GTO driver just a couple of seasons ago, so making good strides himself over the course of this season, especially to continue to increase his standing in this GTP field. But my goodness, just under halfway to go here. It didn't feel like it took a long time to get to halfway, but now that we're battling side by side with a lot of other drivers, I feel like these drivers, oh my goodness, still side by side through turn 1.
That's Grau being attacked by Lepisto. Grau doesn't get a good exit off of turn 1, but Lepisto the long way around on an off-camber corner, and he's going to hold tough. Can he manage to get it done into Atwood? He's got the inside. The car is squirrely clipping the grass on its way in, but he brakes safely, and he is going to manage to finally move on to the podium.
But now Grau's got a good exit and good draft. Is he going to try and take it away from Lepisto? Lepisto's going to have to be very, very brave on the brakes into the hairpin. Grau's going to try and go around the outside here. Lepisto deep on the brakes. Oh, it just takes away that inside line from Grau. Grau is going to have to give it up and sit back in 4th.
24 minutes it took Lepisto to finally get that thing done. And now that he has, Sintez Galindo is his next target. It's the same paint all over again. He's going to be sick of that livery by the end of this thing. Laust Olsen right now wedged between Reed Miller and Andreas Schuster, who've been battling through the middle part of today's events, and now he'll let them be on their own. His gap is down a little bit. I'm guessing he's taking his time through this traffic.
Well, Miller and Schuster were not keen to give up their battle to let Laust Olsen through. They actually caused him a little bit of trouble there through the switchbacks. So fortunately, Laust able to keep a cool head and just be very patient. He had about 9 seconds going into that battle of gap back to Heitor Sintes Galindo, so he had tons of time to give up. And so he gave up the time he needed to, navigated that well.
This is a veritable traffic jam here. Lepisto, Grau, Sintes Galindo having to go past multiple different GTOs. Up ahead of them, that's Timothy Vaughn. It's going to stay off to the left-hand side. And on the backstretch, that's a nice, easy pass. But the damage has been done. Heitor Sintes Galindo is nowhere to be seen. And in the background, Ove Trangarade has suddenly gone off track. I'm not sure. That's a strange place to go off track, really.
Yeah, this was, I think he got caught out by Seamus Power going around Hideki Koivisto, and Hideki taking to the normal racing line, and Trangarade just got pushed off wide a little bit, tried to get back on the track, and it spun him out.
Love to see this from Ove's view, because it's always, we can see it wherever on the track that we want, Ken, Adam, and I, but these guys only have that perspective behind the wheel, and often, Adam, it looks so different on your decision making when you're sitting behind the wheel. Absolutely.
So, yeah, so it's definitely worth taking a look at. Let's see whether or not we can get on board with that right now. Here we go. You can see Hideki drifting out wide. I think Ove thought that he was going to have that gap to the inside, thought that Hideki was going to give it to him. But unfortunately, that gap closed, and so Ove just had to turn the wheel left because he was reacting to Hideki. So here we see that gap open, and close, and Ove took the right choice. He made the right choice by going off into the grass and saving the thing.
Yeah, I almost feel like lifting maybe would have been the better option in that situation, though, and not have to go in the grass at all. But yeah, at least he kept it from hitting the barriers here, and now he gets a chance to finally go past Koivisto and Hamill Smith.
So one battle that I've been watching that's been going on since the beginning of this race is between Javier Del Olmo and Ian Haycox for second position in the GTOs. Ian has not let go of Javier over the course of this entire race. He's been within half a second this entire race. He hasn't found his way by, but he's just clinging to the back of Javier Del Olmo right now and trying to make sure he doesn't get away, so maybe he can make a late race pass.
We hop on board once again here with Haycox just behind Javier. Javier's having claimed a championship, but Ian Haycox, not yet. In fact, he hasn't had a win here on the broadcast races for Camel GT. So he's going to allow Sintes Galindo to go through in that battle for... Oh, Sintes Galindo must have gotten held up.
Just now.
Yeah.
Just now, Sintes Galindo is now nose to tail with Andy Lepisto. Lepisto having caught up to Sintes Galindo over the last half of a lap. So those two go by. That's the battle for second position, the GTPs. And it's Javier Del Olmo and Ian Haycox, battle for second position, the GTOs we're watching. And that was close between Grau and Javier Del Olmo. Ian Haycox diving to the inside to make sure he doesn't get overtaken by Seamus Power up the inside because he wants that line for a better run off the corner in the Audi.
Yeah, I was going to say that was very good heads up by Javier to see the Nissans coming and basically stay out of the way at the right time. Ooh, and things get intense now for third as Grau suddenly has Sanchez making up a bunch of time from his poor qualifying.
Absolutely. So Grau and Sanchez duking it out there for the third position, and Andy Lepisto spun it off the curb. They're going to dodge him, fortunately, but my goodness, that was a scary moment for everybody involved. Seamus Power's going to take advantage of Lepisto's troubles and go up the outside through this hairpin section. Lepisto's going to try and hang on to it, but he's got hot tires. There's no way he can accelerate off the corner.
Oh, man, it is wagging its tail back and forth off of every slow turn. Well, apparently I manifested that one because that was a battle for fourth place that we were calling. Now it's a battle for third between Grau and Sanchez because of them inheriting it from Lepisto. They just went past the leader in the GTOs. Leskola is actually not as far ahead as we've seen at some races. It's only about 5.5 seconds.
Yeah, 5.5, 6 seconds for Leskola over Del Olmo and Haycox in that battle. But look at this, Sanchez on the back of Grau. We know Sanchez gets frustrated when he's not up there in the top three. free, and so he's absolutely.
Yeah, Leskola is off. Leskola just went off course. He's trying to bring it back on. He went wide through Atwood. He gets it back on course, and he's probably grateful that he had those 5 seconds because it's been cut down to less than 2.
He was going to take it to the inside, but then he saw Lapisto coming and stays to the outside and just left it 1 second too long, unfortunately. So Leskola in a really dangerous position now. He's got a 1.5 seconds to Javier Del Olmo, who can't back up because Ian Haycox is putting some pressure on him.
That's an unusual mistake from Leskola, because typically when he makes mistakes, they aren't really major ones. He's pretty bulletproof in most situations.
We saw some mistakes from Leskola last season that cost him the championship, but this season he's been fairly mistake-free. I think he'd take this one over some of the mistakes that happened last season.
True. I'll give you that. That's very true. So he still has the lead, and so far he's had the pace to outrun Del Olmo. We're going to watch it one more time from on board.
Yeah, I think he was looking in his mirrors and just missed the turn a little bit.
Yeah,
it happens to all of us. I think he was worried Lapisto was going to dive it in too deep.
So like I said, the fact that he had pushed as hard as he did really kind of kept him in the hunt here. If he had backed off, then he might be second or third position right now as he allows another of our GTPs go by. Jason Clapper, who I mentioned, has been one of our biggest movers in the whole field, actually.
And Grau trying to hold off Sanchez. Sanchez trying to go on the outside. Going to do a little switch over here as they dive down into Revolver again. Grau on the inside, and Sanchez trying to power by, but just can't find his way by. It's so hard to pass here in the GTP if you don't get a better exit than your competitor.
I think you could just say it's so hard to pass here, period, especially in higher downforce cars. Always seems to provide a great deal of difficulty despite many hairpins and heavy braking zones.
It's just impossible to get the speed going enough to transition to aerodynamic grip at this track. And so you don't get that effect from the draft that you usually get in these cars, because only right about now do you start feeling the draft for these two machines. At that point, it's too late to try and make a move.
Still going to be stuck behind as Sanchez is hassling the number 28 and has been for a good 10 or so laps at this point. We're down less than 10 minutes to go, though, so time is going to be running out. The 4 is going to have to get a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, and here comes, he definitely is, because Seamus Power's coming up to this battle. It's soon going to be three-way. So Sanchez at the best exit we have seen so far, but they've got Alex Williams, who's going to be right in the braking zone for them. Alex Williams pulls over to the side of the road. This is going to cause Grau to have to come back to the racing line. Sanchez, it's just too late, too many variables, but look at this, Grau outbrakes himself. Sanchez goes by.
Shake and bake, got a mistake out of him. And now that's going to put Sanchez onto the podium. Seamus Power thinking he could maybe get one more as well. Big checkup behind Del Olmo. Xavier Sanchez, though, does not lose the position. He goes defensive, coming down into Redmond just to try and prevent Grau from making a move.
That's Christian Schaefer, who they're going by P14 in the GTOs right now. Seamus Power, though, right on the back of Grau, who's probably got some hot rear tires at this point. If Seamus can get a good exit off of the last corner, then he could get a good run. But Grau runs away in that short stretch. That's going to take away this pass opportunity from Power.
So they all spread apart on the front stretch now. As far as Haycox versus Del Olmo goes, that's actually about 8/10 apart, so it's not super close right now, but I think Ian's still got a possibility at trying to go by him if he could just get a little bit closer. Also, one battle that has just carried on, much to the dismay of Reed Miller, is himself and Schuster. Those two split by about 0.3 of a second, and I would have thought that Reed would be able to find a way by now.
Yeah, but like I said, Reed's setup is just not benefiting him today. So his center off is just so tight. It's really making trouble for him at the moment. So Reed Miller, even though he's got straight line speed and usually he's got corner speed over his competitors, he just can't get the exits that he needs to make a pass here.
So he'll stay behind the Nissan liveried Audi. I've heard that they are intending to pull out some Audi liveries on the Nissans. I haven't seen any yet, or maybe I just missed it. Oh, what's this? The 35 car. That is...
Yeah, it's Kaj Hansen who's had a problem. It looks like it's just a self-spin off of the final hairpin before the close of the lap. So hard to keep the rear tires from spinning in these Nissans.
Well, the car's still rolling, so I'm guessing he's just going to try and drive it home from here. As once again, very close between Schuster and Miller, but no dice for the number 6. They switch back and head through Revolver. Big drop in elevation down through here into Piper. This is all happening about 4 seconds behind Doug Cloud. That's a better run. This could be a move. Miller's going to stick his nose in, but can't get the overlap.
Yeah, I've seen people try and make that move before, and it just ends up in side-by-side contact because you end up pushing so wide, you end up running into the person on the outside of you. We all learned that in the MX-5s. It looks like Trangrade and Lepisto are side-by-side.
Yeah, both have had problems in this race. Both are taking a little pain from that, but Trangrade is going to be able to come back from it and now take the lead of the embattered cars as Ove's up to 6th with that move.
Absolutely. So Ove Trangrade up to 6. Antti Lepisto, I think, has just burnt off his tires over the course of this race, having trouble holding on to that position. So he's going to start to fall back unless he can claw back that position from Trangrade. Up ahead, Seamus Power still battling with Farron Grau, and Andreas Schuster battling with Reed Miller in the GTOs. Those are our closest battles right now.
Yeah, some have really fallen apart and others have really stayed together, and some have come together between our various drivers. That's another big holdup right there coming down between the short chute between turn 1 and Williams. But Grau keeps Seamus Power from being able to attack for the time being. He's already fallen off the podium here. I'm sure Farron would like to prevent losing yet another as they come up and over the top of Atwood to the backstretch.
Absolutely, but not a good enough run. And who's this who's slow? Is that Cam Porter? Yes, it is.
It does look like him, yeah.
Cam Porter had a self-spin off of the last corner. He just got into the grass a little bit, made a little bit of front right nose contact with the inside wall. And so, unfortunately, it looks like he's got a little bit of damage that he's carrying right now. So it's going to be hard for him to stay ahead of Aaron Humphreys on the long straights.
If I'm honest, he's lucky that it wasn't worse. It could be so easy to slam the car to that inside wall if you touch the gravel coming out of there. We'll see if these two can avoid that fate, as they'll probably be trying to push. Grau pushing a little bit past the apex, unfortunately, coming up through Hobbs. Can't get it down into the bottom of the corner. And unfortunately for him, Nathan Cameron is kind of in the way, but he'll stay off to the side to hold him up just a little bit. Seamus Power trying to close in. And don't look now, Ove Trangrade is joining the party.
Yeah, Power's got to get this done because Trangrade went from 1 second behind them to about half a second behind them recently. Getting past Daniel Repetto has had multiple spins today, unfortunately. But Ove Trangrade closing very quickly on this battle for 4th position. He probably doesn't have a podium on the cards today with 3 minutes left to go, but he could get past these two over the next 2 laps.
Coming down the back stretch. Wonder if Grau's aware of Trangrade on his fight back. Does he know he's going to be joined by another fast driver here in just a moment? Jose Garcia in the number 37 is not pulling out of the way yet, but he doesn't have to. He's not really holding them up. But he's of the same class, and that's always a little bit more difficult trying to anticipate how and when is best to overtake them, as there's a little bit of a defense from Grau that time.
Absolutely, definitely close racing from all these guys, and they've got a lap GTP ahead of them as well. So that's going to be trouble for them going into the last couple of laps. Laust Olsen's going by our battle for 5th position in the GTOs. And he got held up a little bit last lap as we continue to watch that battle. There is Laust getting held up once again behind Reed Miller and Andreas Schuster.
I think this is calculated, though. It's 2 laps to go. So I'm pretty sure Olsen's just kind of knowing I have that 5-second gap. I can kind of take my time to make good decisions here.
Sorry, I think Miller's got to run. I think Miller's got to run on Schuster. He has not been able to make this work the last couple of laps. But Andreas Schuster, let's see if he goes defensive this time. He has gone defensive to the inside the last couple times. Reed Miller trying to outbrake Andreas Schuster into the braking zone, forcing Schuster to go wide. Schuster unable to hang on to it, unable to get power down. Reed Miller jumps Schuster up into 5th. And side by side between Power and Grau now into the hairpin. 3 wide as they go through there.
Oh, that was Hamill Smith there, and the GTO that probably wasn't too thrilled about that, but relieved to get out the other side. Power still can't make the pass, but Trangrade says a failed attempt could be my gain, but he dips his wheels into the grass, and that caught out his speed at the end. White flag is out for Laust Olsen as he comes to the final lap of the race.
Laust has done a good job today, just needs to make it around one more time to get that coveted win that's been eluding him for so long. And I mean, I know that he has won before, but feels like a long time for him, and he's had some struggles this season. So Laust Olsen just needs to be careful, be paced, be measured throughout the rest of this lap. But Grau and Power now nose to tail again as they're getting held up behind Hideki Koivisto.
Oh, and Koivisto left just enough room for Power, who apologizes over the radio quickly. And they'll carry on. He's going to have the inside maybe as they weave around and contact is made. And Farron Grau is in the wall.
That was Xavier Sanchez, who Grau was trying to get by for third position. Xavier just takes it deep into the corner and unfortunately spins around Grau. Now Trangrade's putting pressure on Power as they go into the hairpin behind a battling Mark Ole and Timothy Vaughn for 7th position in the GTOs. This brings Antila Pisto into the battle. This one's going to continue until the flag.
Oh, and unfortunately, the GTO is going to act as a bit of a pick as they go around the outside, once again having to slalom through it. But we got to go to Laust Olsen as they actually make contact with the GTO there briefly. Olsen, it's been more than a season since we've last seen him win. And there we go, doesn't even blink as he finally takes a victory here in Camel once again.
Xavier Sanchez held up a little bit on the final corner, but he's going to be able to get off cleanly. Ove Trangrade might have an opportunity to try and make it past Seamus Power. Not quite going to make it.
Oh, that was tense stuff there right at the end. Sintez Galindo to second. Sanchez somehow clinging to third by the skin of his teeth. Del Olmo will take a second place in the GTOs and Haycox a third as they've already finished. But Leskala gets an entire lap to celebrate, so I'm pretty certain we're going to be seeing a little bit of tire smoke here as he'll bring in that Scandinavian flick, no doubt, throughout the lap.
It's possible he might be close on incident limit, Joe, because he's driving this lap pretty clean. And so if he's close on incident limit, he does not want to be sliding around before he hits that checkered flag. So this is the cleanest free lap we have seen from Jukka Leskala in a long time. And I think that he might be just trying to make sure he doesn't get any more incidents today.
That's a good point. And by the way, something we didn't touch on, if you wanted to slide around, now's the time to do it, because it's 115 Fahrenheit on the track today. It's been toasty here in Japan on the pavement, and there you go. Another win for Jukka Leskala, and this might just seal his championship. We'll have to try and calculate points a little bit later. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to ride around the world. I'm Mick Claridge, and I'm going to ride around the world on my bike. My son, he gave me advice at the start of this ride, and he looked at me and just said, "Dad, don't be a moron."
Let me do my animal signal to gain their respect. How's it going, Sally? Yeah, I'm alright, Mick. How's it going? Worse than that bit in Lord of the Rings where they go into the top and the spider's in the tunnel. I'm just hoping there's a spider at the top of this one to kill me.
Freezing. And I failed. I moroned up the ride.
Welcome back to Okayama. We had a good one here for round 10 out of 12 in the Camel GT series. Laust Olsen finally topping the sheets once again, taking victory ahead of Heitor Sendez Galindo by a handy 6 seconds. Xavier Sanchez just about gave away his podium on the last lap as he actually had contact twice as he ran into a GTO and then unfortunately had a little bit of a run-in with Farron Grau on top of things. Seamus Power was just behind them in fourth with Ove Trangerade P5, and Antti Lepisto only able to recover to sixth in the end. Farron Grau recovered back to seventh. Jason Clapper from 18th to 8th. Fantastic job. Stefan Leslie was ninth with Brendan Lim in 10th. You've got Cam Porter in the 11th position, followed by Aaron Humphrey in 12th. Carlos Fonseca, P13. Javier Mascara, unfortunately, had to settle for 14th today. Kurt Clapper, P15. Garcia, the first one a lap down in 16th, and Roman Bello, 17th. The rest of your cars in the GTPs on screen were DNFs.
And then we get to the GTOs with Yuko Leskala taking a commanding win, but my goodness, was that not the story of the race? After getting caught up by a blinking GTP a little early on, had to fight Javier Del Olmo to make that pass and then take away the lead. Javier Del Olmo held on over a charging Ian Haycox, who just couldn't quite get the challenge done today. Ian Haycox finishes in third, with Doug Cloud finishing in fourth. A great consistent race for him in the battles that were going on back there for fourth, fifth, and sixth. Reed Miller comes home in fifth position, holding off Andreas Schuster for the last half of the race, with Timothy Vaughn falling back to the seventh position with Mark Ole in the eighth spot. Then we've got Hideki Koivisto, who hung on over Jamie Hamill-Smith for ninth and 10th. And then we have Nathan Cameron, who finishes in 11th with Gregorio Buscemi in 12th. Diego Ascensos in the 13th position with Kristen Schaefer in 14th. Jeff Hooper 15th, Alex Williams 15th, and then we get Daniel Repetto, who had a couple of issues down in the 17th position. Mariali, Javier Sanz, and Arut Agaronian round out your field, and they were the DNFs today.
We've got our winner in the prototypes ready to talk to us. Laust Olsen here joining in. And it looked like he had it relatively under control for much of the race. Laust, we were trying to remember, when was the last broadcast race that you've won here in Campbell? Because I feel like it's been definitely more than a season.
Don't remember if it was last season or 2 seasons ago, but yeah, it was about time. I'm really happy.
We saw that there were at times where you picked your way through traffic and gave up a lot of time. Was that you just kind of managing things to try and bring it home and play it safe?
Yeah, for a great part. When I saw I had a good gap, I decided to try to be a little more careful, as long as the gap would stay the same, because I've seen too often that the gaps suddenly disappear in traffic, so you also have to be careful not to be too careful.
I like that balance. Yeah. Well, you had some practice. Obviously, we had a pretty decent strength of field with the happy hour race for iRacing earlier this week. Did that help you at all? Do you feel like that was a contributor to you managing a win today?
Definitely. I think finally I got this. I figured out this track. It used to be on the top list of my hate tracks, but I must say that right now it belongs in the other end of the spectrum. So, but it's all about managing the tires here. I think we had some very hot weather this week, and the track is slippery in itself. So keeping those tires healthy, that's the main concern, and that's probably what I figured out here at the end of the week.
Well, again, congratulations. And it's funny how wins always seem to change your opinion on a track.
Yeah.
We'll hopefully get to talk to you some more here for the remainder of the season. Oh, and I got some information. The last broadcast win that we could find was March 26th at Homestead. So you were close to a year away from your last win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, again, thanks for coming and chatting with us, and congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks. You're welcome.
That was Laus Stolson, your winner, and I believe that Adam has caught up with Aitor Sintes Galindo, who finished second.
Yeah, Aitor just had a hard time navigating that traffic today, getting up to the back of Laus Stolson, but still a great race, coming home in second position. Talk to me about your race today.
Absolutely. Yeah, so today was very thick, the traffic today, but I'm happy with the result. Today is a happy day because not only I got some points to ante for the championship, so and also Laos got his win since probably November last year or something. I don't know. I've been. I mean, it's like a friend, you know, almost like a friend, because we've all been together on this team, the championship, and we fought together, and I'm glad for him. So yeah, very good result today, good point finish as well, and yeah, happy for everybody.
There's some epic battling going on all over the track today, and especially with the traffic that we had going on. 42 cars out here at Okayama. How was it navigating all of that today?
It was difficult. I remember the first pass of cars. There were like 8 or 9 cars together. It was like, oh boy, it's one of these days, isn't it? Yeah, it was very difficult, and I also got somewhat unlucky because I got it into the tighter section with all the hairpins, and you know the Audi prefers slow corners more than the Nissan. But yeah, it was difficult, not gonna lie, but I'm glad that I got 0 incidents, so I'm happy for this, and yeah, good result after all.
And next week, Aitor, we head to VIR, the infamously 2-lane racetrack that switches racing lines unbelievably more than here at Okayama. What are your thoughts heading into that round, especially with the high volume of fields that we've had recently?
Actually, I'm looking forward to VIR because I remember all this season I've been using a setup that was a derivative based on the VIR setup. So basically, I need no setup after all. So the setup was very good on that week, I remember, because I was trying to fight Hugh Haycox, of all people, so you can tell it was a good setup. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Probably the traffic will be another problem, especially on the SS. Ooh, that will be very interesting to see. But yeah, looking forward to next week. I hope I'll go good points, good finish, and everything.
Well, Aitor, who helped you get that second position today?
First and foremost, my team Ferran, who's made an absolutely great race today until the finish, and also, well, Camel community as usual, friendly as usual, family, friends, and watching. Thanks everybody, and yeah, thanks everybody. See you in VIR.
That was Aitor Sintes Galindo, who finished in second position today in the GTPs. We got an all GTP interview group today, finishing off with Cam Porter, who's going to talk with Joe Peak.
Indeed. Long time no see, Cam, and it seems as though you've still got the fervor for side-by-side battling because you got some more today.
Yeah, that was a really thrilling race. I really enjoyed that one today. Really fun. I'm I was surprised to be inside the top 10 after my qualifying, but I ended up throwing it away near the end of the race. I was trying to keep up with Stefan, but I'm not even mad. That was a really fun race. Hope more races like that.
Well, we'd love them too, because that was, as you said, very good racing. Now, not everybody in this group was there for the Thursday race for happy hour, but you were. Did you pick up anything from that? Do you feel like it helped you today?
I put in a little bit of practice, well, a little more than usual this week going into the broadcast race, not the broadcast, but the happy hour race. But I did drive the Audi that day, but I surprised myself with the pace I had. And today, I think just doing the Audi race helped me learn the track a little better and be prepared for the GTP race.
We heard some grumblings from the community about this being on the schedule. What are your thoughts after today's race? Because like you said, and it wasn't just you, we saw fantastic racing in both classes at all ends of the field.
Well, I'm looking forward to the broadcast, watching the broadcast back then. I really like this track, actually. It was challenging managing traffic, of course, and, it gives and takes away, and it allowed me to have a really fun battle with the guys around me. And I want to thank all the Camel GT guys for just everybody seemed to behave themselves around me today, and really had fun.
Well, I'm glad it was a blast for you, because it was a blast for us. Thanks for talking to us, Cam, and we'll talk to you later.
See you later.
That was Cam Porter, who finished 11th today in the prototypes, which is going to wrap us up with a big thank you, of course, to the Camel community as a whole for bringing us back for another season of coverage. Also, thanks to the team today, Adam, Zach, and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, our website, and our merchandise store. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. The next race, as was mentioned, will be Virginia International Raceway, Saturday, November 26th at noon Eastern. Be sure to check out our other broadcasts listed here, but until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.